Welcome to episode 2 of Bizarre Connections, the channel that seeks to connect everything and anything for reasons that are not immediately apparent to anyone. Last time our chain of strangeness ended up in Philadelphia on the Rocky Steps, so that's where we'll begin this time. Connection number 8, George W. Bush. The Rocky and Rambo film franchises made their creator, Sylvester Stallone, a fortune. Outwardly, Sly and W don't appear to have much in common. It could be that they both use utterly extraordinary syntax.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
But the connection I'm going to use is actually very simple. Like Abraham Lincoln and Charles Darwin, they took their first breath on Earth on the same day. Connection number 9, Jimmy Heselden. W was famous for his astonishing syntax. He created groups of words never used together in human history. His physical clumsiness was less well known. One famous incident occurred when he fell off one of these bad boys. Segways managed to combine looking like a futuristic method of transport and a medieval implement of torture at the same time. W famously went flying from a Segway in 2003 when he tried to use one for the first time. He shares a proclivity for Segway mishaps with one Jimmy Heselden, the former owner of the company. Former because Heselden's Segway blunder was a bit more serious. While riding his Segway on a narrow rural path, you know this isn't going to end well, near his West Yorkshire home, Mr. Heselden, in an act of typical British courtesy, moved to allow a dog walker to get past him. Unfortunately, in doing so, he reversed his Segway over a cliff, falling 42 feet to his death. Connection number 10, Tennessee Williams. So, Jimmy Heselden accidentally killed himself, but so did the famous playwright Tennessee Williams. The author of simmering southern classics like A Streetcar Named Desire and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof died in his suite at the Hotel Elysee in New York in 1983. An autopsy performed the next day showed that the writer had choked to death on a small plastic bottle cap that he had managed to swallow or inhale. Later tests concluded he was likely using the plastic cap to take barbiturates. Regardless, it's a bizarre, self-inflicted way to go. Connection number 11, the safety coffin. Tennessee Williams was a well-known taphophobiac. You might be one too. It's not that unusual, because Williams had a long-standing fear of being buried alive. Such fears were widespread in Victorian times, culminating in the 1896 founding of the London Association for the Prevention of Premature Burial. This mixed middle-class unease over Britain's ropey death certification standards and working-class worry about defilement at the hands of the anatomists in medical schools. Multiple inventions were created, just in case a live person was inadvertently buried. One of these was the safety coffin. The invention of the safety coffin links us to one of my favourite subjects, idioms. Connection number 12, Fanny Adams. This is going to get dark. You have been warned. So, what are idioms? If you are over the moon about something, you are thrilled about it. You are not literally over the moon. It's an idiom. To be saved by the bell is a very common idiom used to describe when someone is unexpectedly rescued from an undesirable fate at the last minute. Many assume it comes from boxing, which would make a lot of sense, but wonderfully, it comes from the safety coffin, many versions of which had a string or lever inside that could be pulled if the occupant awoke. In turn, this would sound a bell on the surface, hopefully loud enough to raise the dead, see what I did there, that would alert authorities, and therefore the coffin could be dug up, the person saved, everyone goes home happy. Anyway, another Victorian idiom used to describe something as nothing, pointless or worthless is sweet FA. What are his chances of winning the next election? Sweet FA. Many people mistakenly think the FA stands for fuck all, but Sweet FA is an abbreviated form. The full idiom is Sweet Fanny Adams. Fanny was the 8-year-old victim of one of the most gruesome murders in British history. In 1867, Fanny Adams was abducted and murdered before being horrifically dismembered. I don't think dismembering someone you've just killed could ever be described as anything other than horrific, but this was on another level. I told you this would get very, very dark. But the humour gets jet black and very British in a minute, believe me. Many English idioms come from sailors, as the Royal Navy at the time was absolutely huge. Here are just some that come from the Navy that you will know. In the mid-19th century, the preservation of food by canning was in its infancy, and the process didn't always work. Keen to take advantage of this new technology and overcome a long-running problem, feeding crews at sea for months at end, the Royal Navy was an early adopter of canned food for sailors' rations. Unfortunately, sailors would often open said cans to find the meat within was rancid and inedible, utterly worthless, in other words. When asked what the cans contained, sailors would often say, "Sweet FA." They were saying that the rancid food was actually the the remains. Well, you get the idea. I told you it was bleak. Let's move on. Connection number 13. Brian Donkin. An easier, briefer, and far less gruesome connection this time. Brian Donkin was an enormously successful industrialist who created the world's first commercial canning factory, hence our connection to Sweet FA. Donkin was a prolific entrepreneur who also created the world's first paper printing machine. Donkin's inking roller quickly became the industry standard, allowing printing to be carried out rapidly and on a mass scale, thereby reducing the cost and ultimately allowing for the creation of connection number 14, pulp fiction. Pulp fiction is a term given to mass-produced, cheaply printed stories on inexpensive pulp paper. Known for their sensational, action-filled and often lurid content across genres like crime, western and sci-fi, pulp fiction was hugely popular in the early to mid-20th century. Quentin Tarantino used the term and the aesthetic in his classic 1994 crime film starring John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson and Uma Thurman. A fantastic but often brutal film which is curiously famous for its dance scene.
It was a teenage wedding and the old folks wished him well.
So that's it for episode 2. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you can spare a few seconds, please take time to like and subscribe, as it really helps with the channel's visibility on YouTube. Episode 3 sees me connect Tarantino's 1994 crime classic Pulp Fiction with this lot, as I discuss links 15 to 21 in the never-ending chain of abstraction that is bizarre connections. Can you spot who or what Pulp Fiction connects directly to? Join me next time to find out if you were right. Me again. One last thing. Why not join me at the beginning for link 1, Steve Jobs, on my endless chain of bizarre connections? Go on. You know you want to. Or why not view the entire playlist containing all the episodes? Also, if you could comment and subscribe, I would be eternally grateful.